It's pretty safe to say that everyone had pretty high hopes for Star Wars Battlefront 2, myself included. I played the alpha and the beta, and I loved both of them. I was extremely excited for the game, and when it came out, I did definitely play a lot. I think I got about 100 hours in the first week. But there are definitely some things that were very wrong about the game. A lot of people coined it the most disappointing game of 2017, and a lot of people that weren't diehard Star Wars fans pretty much just stopped playing after the first couple hours, because honestly, the game, its launch stages was very broken. It didn't feel like a finished game. The servers were just appalling. There were a lot of issues like that, but there are some more overarching issues that have survived even till now, and that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how the game is in its current state 6 months after release. Now, when it comes to server stability, it's sort of a mixed bag. A lot of time, if you can actually find a game, it will run pretty smoothly. The servers are pretty decent, but the big problem is there's basically no community at this point. No one really is playing this game anymore, so you've got to spend quite a lot of time trying to find a good region to use to actually play the game. Or if you want to use your own region and get a good ping, you've only got to be able to play in like these little 2-hour blocks every day. Now, for someone living in America, this might be a bit better, but for me here in Australia, it's very hard to find Australian server games. I probably only find one every couple months because I don't even bother trying at this point. I normally try and play on US servers, but I can only play at certain times because the US servers are inactive at certain times. So it is very difficult to try and find a game, at least for me, and maybe for some other people that aren't in places where a lot of people are playing the game, so that might be an issue for some people. Now, this game came out around the time of the release of The Last Jedi, and what they did is they released probably about a month before The Last Jedi, and then released a DLC pack with The Last Jedi as The Last Jedi came out. And this is what they called The Last Jedi Season, or Season 1. It was meant to be this idea where there would be frequent new content updates in the themes of seasons, which would be based around movies or whatever they choose. And then those packs would just add to the content, so we'd be getting some more fresh and new content. Now, as of the 5th of May 2018, only one content pack has come out, and that is the Last Jedi pack. The Han Solo pack for the Solo movie has been at least announced, but we have no details as of yet. And for 6 months of launch to only have one DLC pack when it was promised to have multiple and almost a constant stream of fresh content, this is probably the most disappointing part about this whole thing. Now, their big reason for why there hasn't been much content has been because they've been focusing on the progression update. If you don't know, at the very start of Battlefront 2 at its launch, the progression system was pretty confusing and hard to work with. I personally got around it because I had so many hours, but for many people who didn't want to grind for so long and weren't planning on playing for upwards of 200 hours, they weren't exactly wanting to grind for this sort of thing. For me, it was never an issue because I was going to play that much anyway, but for those who didn't want to, I can obviously see why that would be just a massive problem. Progression was based off crates, which were just giving you random star cards, which give you abilities and power-ups in the game, but these would be specific to classes or heroes, and you wouldn't be able to progress in what you'd like to do. So even if you were a main of Assault class, you might have Heavy class cards and Specialist class and all the different cards that you don't want because you're just going for Assault class. Not to mention, on release, they were planning to have microtransactions allowing you to buy these crates and give you direct advantages in the game, which is a big reason why people just didn't even bother buying the game, and probably why there's not much of a community now. The kind of aura around the game is that it's just a pay-to-win EA game, and that's why a lot of people didn't want to buy it or didn't buy it. So that did ruin it. They did take it away before the full release, so only the EA access people had were able to buy that sort of thing, but it was very dodgy that they were even attempting to do something like that. This new progression update, which was what supposedly was not allowing them to make content, was basically just revamping the entire system. You would get skill points based on what classes you enjoyed, what classes you played the most of, what classes you succeeded the most as. It definitely makes a lot more sense. I haven't progressed much in this system, simply because A, I haven't been playing that much, and B, I haven't really got any more things to unlock that I haven't already got, but I may as well use it. I've got a bunch of crafting parts from the old updates that I can convert into skill points and go ahead and do. So I think it's a good update for them to do, but I don't see how that has taken them so long. They also released the cosmetic update, which allows you to buy crystals again, and the crystals can buy you skins. The skins range from about $2 worth to $10 worth. But here's the really disappointing bit about the cosmetic update. Modding has been a big part about this community since the beginning, since Battlefront 1 even, and in the modding community, people have just data mined and unlocked skins that were just in the game files. For example, like Ray's Arc 2 skin, which I've actually used in a video before because it looks cool, and you know, little things like that. So basically, they've unlocked heaps of skins, and every single skin in this update, except one that they're now expecting us to pay for, and that they have said that they've been spending all this time making, have been in the game files since day one. Every single one except one skin. And in fact, a lot of things that they've updated and given to us as quote-unquote new content has been found in the game files. For example, Jetpack Cargo was found in the game files months ago, and a lot of new maps and things that they'll bring to arcade and things to multiplayer have all been found in the game files as available. So they've been just kind of holding back this content to release it to us and pretend almost like they've got new content. A big part of all of this outrage is the fact that since the game's launch, they have made about, what, 2 things created in this 6-month block. Almost very identical to how it was at launch is very worrying. This game doesn't have a chance of enticing new people to play, because there is no reason why people who didn't already play a lot of the game should come and play. There is no big new content, there's nothing really like that, and I don't think when the solo season comes out, that will happen. All they can do now is contain and keep the fans that they've got, and keep them interested long enough to keep this game going. Because in this state, the game doesn't have much more longevity. I don't see the game going anywhere further because they've just absolutely butchered it. I'm sure they now have got all of DICE, except for a very small team, working on the new Battlefield. So this new solo season and the new seasons coming up better be pretty spectacular. I think it makes sense to make a solo season coming out with a solo movie, but I think within the next 3 months after it comes out, they need to release a Clone Wars season. We found little bits of Clone Wars content in the game files. If they can bring out an Obi-Wan and Grievous Utapau type thing, I think that they can save this game just a little bit. I think they'll bring some new people with the Clone Wars DLC, because a big part of this game's marketing was Clone Wars is now a part of the game. So I think if they can really hone in and do some Clone Wars stuff, because that is one thing that they haven't done much of. There's not much prequel era content in this game. It's a lot of it's sequel and Empire, or original trilogy, sorry. So if they can hone in on this Clone Wars, get us some Clone Wars content, get us Obi-Wan and Grievous, they can save this game. But I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please consider hitting that like button or even subscribing to the channel. I'm trying to make as much content as I can. I'm trying to get back on the weekly content grind, but it's really difficult when I've got a lot of other things going on, and I also want to work a lot harder on videos and make them a lot better. So sometimes there will be gaps in that, but I will be trying my hardest to make weekly content. I've got some pretty big videos coming out soon, so stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great day.